As I understand it, when you first started this business, you actually went and visited, you used your own service to meet all of the hosts that were kind of the first 100 or so people who were as crazy as you were. Said, sure, that sounds like a good idea. I'll sign up on a website and I'll have strangers in my house. I mean, I'm down. And you went and visited them. What did you learn from doing that?
Well, first of all, I should tell you why we started doing that. Jody and I entered Y Combinator in January of 2009. And
the incubator program, well known, run by Paul.
And it's a 3-month program. And people ask me, like, what's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten? And I would say probably the piece of advice Paul Graham gave us in the first day of Y Combinator. He said, it's better to have 100 people love you than 1 million people that just sort of like you. And I don't think there's any better advice for anyone in technology than that single thing. It's better to have 100 people love you than 1 million people that sort of like you. And so we thought, well, what does that mean? And it meant that you should basically start by creating the perfect experience for 1 person, 2 people, 3 people, and you can do it in a totally unscalable way. And sometimes you don't need technology. And then use technology to figure a way to scale that perfect experience. It's a lot easier than creating like a deep, like a shallow pool. And so, Joe, and basically, the permission it gives you is to do things that do not scale. Because there's all sorts of amazing, Paul Graham has an amazing essay called Do Things That Don't Scale. I totally recommend reading it. Every technologist, or everyone in technology is afraid to like do something because they're like, that doesn't scale. You always hear that doesn't scale. It's like, that's exactly why you should do it right now, because you'll never in the history of your company ever be able to do this again. And by the way, if you do it now and create an amazing experience, you can hire really great people that can figure out how to scale that. But you're really trying to create the vision for an experience. And so we decided the thing that we would do that didn't scale was to go to New York and meet every single host. And we felt like Airbnb would take off the day we found 100 people that loved it. But when people love your product, they tell everyone about it. And in fact, entire revolutions or movements were started because 100 people followed it and loved it and told everyone about it. And so that was the idea. And we thought, when you buy an iPhone, Steve Jobs didn't come sit on your couch. But we did. And we stayed in everyone's home. We lived with our users. And living with your users, I think, is like the best customer research you could ever do. Most people, it would not make sense for you to live with your users. That might be kind of weird, but for us, it was completely natural. Because people don't know what they want, but they'll show you what they want. And if you watch them, you'll see things they don't even know. And one of the things we realized is, for example, it was really hard in 2008 for people to take photos. Now you can take a photo and upload it to your camera, to your phone, because your phone is a camera. But in 2008, most people didn't have cameras, and we were used to these tiny little Craigslist photos. And so we, basically, Joe and I remember writing an email saying, do you want a professional photographer to come to your house? And everyone's like, yes, that'd be great. Well, the doing things that doesn't scale version of that is Joe and I rented professional cameras and went door to door. And I remember like knocking the door, hi, I'm not only the photographer, I'm also the founder. And everyone's like, wow, you really are a small company.